Welcome to Coach's Corner, everybody. Thanks for watching the show. I'm your host, Coach Tripp, here with my buddy Bill Pendock, high school teammate here for four-wheel drive. We got one of the four-wheel drives. Billy, you're riding on one wheel, man.
One wheel. I can't count on those guys. I don't know what's going on.
Blaze Winter's out of Sturgis watching his son perform. His son's in a rock and roll band. So Blaze will be back next week. Of course, the other four-wheel drive, Timmy Green, our high school teammate, Liverpool High School, Syracuse All-American, first-round pick of the Falcons. Timmy's the third wheel and the smartest. Probably you could put Timmy's IQ together. All three of you guys' IQ together wouldn't equal Timmy's.
And then a few, probably.
Oh my God. And Jamie Kimmel is the other one. We might try to get Jamie on the four-wheel drive here soon. But thanks for watching the show, folks. Here at Coach's Corner, man, we try to inspire and educate the mind to think, the heart to feel, and the body to act. That's right. We're going to talk about coaching points. What are some great coaching points and great coaching characteristics? And we'll touch those in a second. You know, Billy, I hate to lose, and I have a serious fear of being unprepared for games. Defeats to me were more than mere losses. They were like public evidence of personal failure. I took them personally, and maybe that's why I'm a fierce competitor even in practice. I think a coach, though, Billy, should convey this passion to his players and be enthusiastic for the pursuit of intensity. He must design competitions in practice. For example, one-on-one drills with the wide receivers and DBs. I used to make a game of it and score points. I used to keep points in practice. A completed pass was 1 point for the offense. A touchdown for them was 2 points. An incomplete pass was 1 point for the DBs. Interception was 2 points for the DBs. So it keeps competition high at a level. But let's talk about these. I got about 9 of them. Billy's got a few. So listen up, all you coaches out there, for these great coaching characteristics. We're going to take them in threes. Number one, enthusiasm, intensity. We just mentioned a coach who shows he loves to be at practice. Every day I used to come on to practice, Billy, for 20 years, and I would scream and holler and sing. It's a beautiful day for football. So I was known for that, and all the guys would, I'd see them out, and everybody knew that was my attitude and my behavior right at the beginning of practice to get the ball rolling because everybody's, not in intensity level. Number two, knowledge. A coach should know your craft inside and out. You should read books from successful coaches. You should go to coaching clinics, observe and learn from other coaches. And number three, communication and knowledge. This is really critical for good coaches, especially at the youth level. This is true all the way from youth to pro. A teacher and a coach, Billy, are very similar, okay? And they all actually have to use the same protocol when you're teaching a skill. Number one, explanation. Clearly define what you're trying to get across. Number two, demonstration. As a coach, you should actually demonstrate the move, the skill, or the whatever that you're trying to teach. You should actually demonstrate that. A lot of coaches that are out of shape don't do this. But can you imagine a math teacher trying to explain a math problem and not putting an example on the board? Right. Okay, so you have to demonstrate it. Number three is participation. You have to let them try it. Number four is correction. You have to correct their mistakes. Number five is repetition. You have to keep doing it over and over and over again. Number six, affirmation. Affirm using a positive reinforcement. Verbally say, great job, or I'm proud of you. Physically give them a high five, fist bump, chest bump, and you got to make the drills specific. It's called specificity. So design those drills that will mimic a movement in the game. All right, let's talk about those three, Billy. Enthusiasm, intensity, knowledge, and communication of that knowledge.
Well, I'll tell you, enthusiasm, if you think about coaching, you think about a lot of guys, probably 90+% of the guys in coaching are not in it to make hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. So the enthusiasm is there, because you really want to be there. It's not like a 9-to-5 job or somewhere you get up dreading every day. And
right.
But And I think, like you pointed out, that if you show the kids that you know what you're talking about, you're excited about what you're trying to teach them, the kids are going to catch on a lot more because
Yeah.
let's face it, the game now has changed so much that a lot of these kids don't know if they want to play or not, because of all the injuries, of everything going on, and that kind of thing.
I've had coaches, and sometimes I feel like even myself once in a great while, I could not feel like going, but I have to pump myself up because if I'm not there, and I know some coaches that were good X's and O guys, but they didn't have any piss and vinegar in them. They didn't have any fire in them. And they really weren't successful coaches because they never, their temperature, they never rose above a level of, calmness.
Paulie, it's and I say this a lot, and I've been around football for a long time, and I've seen a lot of coaches come and go, and I've been lucky enough to have some great coaches. And when you look at the junior high school levels all over, after 5-6 years, if the guy is still coaching in high school, he doesn't have those tangibles that you talked about. He might be an X and O guy, but he don't have the fire to convey that to his players, so he's still coaching at a high school, maybe in Carolina, maybe in New York, wherever. The better guys, the guys that have the whole package, move on up to the higher levels.
The ones who love it. Yeah.
And that's what if you want to make a career out of coaching, you got to understand that there's going to be more tougher times than good times. You look at the guys like Saban, these guys that are at the higher echelon of coaching, that are making millions of dollars, that are doing commercials. That's probably 1 or 2%, maybe 1.5% of all the coaches in the country that are never going to get to that point.
Yeah, you got it. That's one of the things that I recommend. If you get into coaching, you better love it. You have to love it. You have to have a passion for it. Otherwise, you won't be any good at it. That doesn't matter. Yeah, that doesn't matter for coaching, or it could be selling ice cubes to an Eskimo. If you don't have passion for it, you won't get anything done. Knowledge. You got to read books. You got to go to clinics. You got to try to get better. You have to drop your ego and think that you don't know everything, and you have to learn from other people. That's also important. And of course, communication. Doing the right teaching protocol for the kids. If you skip one of those steps, you're doing a disservice to your kids.
Paulie, talking about communication, knowledge, especially communication, respect to your players towards you as a coach, not a friend, but a coach, is vital. And I found that out, I've been coaching for a long time. I've been doing strength training with kids for a long time. And I don't want the kids to be my buddy. I still want them to respect me, but I have to come across to them not in a way to put them down, but in a way to make them get the most out of them. So communication is huge when it comes to your kids or your coaching, whoever you're coaching.
Yeah, that's a good transition into the number 4, relationships. You have to show your players you love them, and they'll run through a brick wall for you. You have to talk to your players. You have to tell them that you have their backs. Okay, you understand all their struggles. Let them know they can always come to you and talk to you about issues, obstacles, problems, worries, fears, and that you will be an advocate for them. I've learned that. I learned that in my one-on-one meeting with Coach Bryant when I was in my 3rd year. You got to have somebody, a champion on your side. You have to have a sense of humor. Number 5, I have fun with the kids. I give my kids nicknames. We talked about nicknames last week.
Exactly. Yep.
Do little things for your kids. I used to make scrapbooks for some of my seniors and keep the articles in them through the year, and then I'd write a journal through the week what happened during practice in that game, and I would give it to them at the end of the year. Okay, so you have to do things for your little kid and for your kids. Also, number 6, I would, as a coach, really this belongs to this is talking about a head coach, but I have used this as an assistant coach many times with my players. This is what Coach Bryant's psychological response is to these three scenarios, Billy. Number one, things go very, very good for your team. You win big. You have to give all the credit to the assistant coaches and players. Number two, things go pretty good. You squeak out a win, you take care of business. A head coach and an assistant coach should share the credit with other coaches and the players. Number three, things go bad. You lose, bad game. You have to take all the blame. Coach Bryant said, you do those three things as a coach, and your kids will play their hardest for you.
Right.
I've always known that Coach Bryant was a master motivator and psychologist, but but Coach Bryant's successor, my coach Ray Perkins with Bama and Tampa Bay, he told me on this show that Coach Bryant wasn't an expert X's and O guy, but he was a master motivator. And that made me take note of how important motivation is in coaching football. And Coach Perk, he admitted he wasn't the best master motivator psychologist, and he recommended on my show that young coaches, when they go to college, get their minor in psychology.
Wow. Yeah. When you talk about that situation, and that's why a lot of good head coaches, great head coaches, have great staffs underneath them. And this is something that a lot of people don't see and will never see, because when you take a guy like back when I was playing, I played for Tom Landry, I played for a couple other good coaches, but behind the scenes, those guys weren't making all the decisions. There was a lot of assistant coaches that were doing most of the grunt work for them guys, and which takes us to a lot of your strength coaches who spend 80 to 75 to 85% of the time with the players, more than the coaches do.
Right.
So you got a whole compound of stuff going on with different things.
Very good. Good point, Billy. Good point. And now they have so much help that they actually have professional psychologists. Saban's used them for years. Dabo started using them. Kirby uses them. That way, these psychologists can go in and talk to these guys every 2 weeks and see what's going. There's 100 guys out there. Head coach can't talk to 100 guys every 2 weeks, one-on-one.
I mean, you got the different world in the game of football now, and the game in sports in general. This is a lot. There's a lot of outside pressure going on with these kids, depending on what ages they are, because there's a lot of things they're getting shot at them, and this social media is a big part of all that. And it's a downside and it's an upside, so depending on how you look at it, it's the way you want to perceive it. But you need a buffer in there between that, and a lot of time these sports psychologists can deflect some of the problems and maybe save a few of these kids that are they're right on the border, either to jump on one way or the other.
Right, exactly. All right, let's take the last three great coaching characteristics that we're talking about today here on Four Wheel Drive. Billy Pendock, I'm Coach Tripp. Number 7, team first. You have to stress that the team comes first before any individual, even any coach. The team is the most important, so we must protect it. Never get a personal foul. If a guy takes a swing at you, you got to refrain for the good of the team. Retaliation will not only cost your team a penalty, but your suspension will hurt you, your team, your parents, your coaches, your school. You tell them that it's a selfish thing to do, and that that kind of response would not be putting the team first. Yes, you have to stress to the team's interest as a cause bigger than themselves, thus they become accountable to each other. Remember, a cause bigger than yourself, Billy, is more powerful than money, fame, houses, cars, sex, material things. When you talk about these things, they have an impact with these kids. In the 18 years I coached DBs, I'm proud to say that I had one DB personal foul in all those years. That was Reader hitting out of bounds. But that's number 8. Respect teammates and females. I would talk to them about respecting women. I tell them, you would not want someone to disrespect your mother or your sister So treat them like you would want your mother or sister to be treated. And if I hear otherwise, you're off the team. And you have to remember to respect the other team. I would tell them that. Then that's part of the personal foul thing they shouldn't get, because those kids are in it for the same reasons that you are. And you know what? Without the other team, we wouldn't be standing here tonight, right now. So you got to respect the other team. Set goals. As a defensive coordinator, I used to have 10 defensive goals, Billy.
Yeah.
Each game we tried to attempt to achieve them. I'd post them in the locker room, review them with the team on Mondays while watching film, and I would have loved to pass out stickers for the goals, the individual and team goals that we got, but I could never talk the two head coaches in that I coach for into doing that. Billy, you remember when Coach O'Leary passed out those reward stickers every Monday? Man, I look forward to film every day. I was playing offense, defense.
Yeah, the stars of football.
You said you didn't look forward to film because George was your position coach, and he would nitpick you guys. But
and I'll tell you,
we used to watch film as a team back in high school.
Right. For him to do that, you wouldn't think a guy he would. That's kind of out of character for Coach O'Leary to give out. Because you never think he'd give out anything like that. That was part of your job. That wasn't a reward. In his eyes, that's what you're supposed to do. So it was kind of I think back to it once in a while, and I remember the footballs, the stars, all that stuff, and I'm like, geez, I never asked him about it, but I always meant to. Now
we're going to ask him. We'll have him on again. We'll ask him.
Let me take a minute. Let's go back on the three you talked about. Name all three again for me.
Put the team first, respect the other team and females, and set goals.
Okay. Well, we can cover almost everything we're talking about in one word, and that's discipline. Okay. Yeah. Now, this is a trait that you must teach right from the start. I think this is something that comes from family. It comes from growing up. It comes from a good background, and it carries on through sports. If you don't have, we've all seen it on TV. The kid, one kid doing something to the other kid, the kid that he fires back. That's all a discipline issue, and I think, it's very, very hard unless a kid is brought up with some kind of discipline at home. And I'm not talking capital punishment or beating the kid or doing whatever, but to instill that in your kid as she gets older is vital when you get them at a junior high school level and on up, I think a lot of it to towards a discipline was stressing the fundamentals, stressing the little things over and over and over is going to help that discipline situation.
Yeah, I was. I admit I was not disciplined as a 8th, 9th, and 10th grade kid. I was in that rebel stage, man. That age. I was full of myself. I thought I was the next best thing since sliced bread. I would do stuff like this. I would matter of fact, at our sophomore year, after we lost to West Genesee, I was playing a little wide receiver. I'm not proud of this moment, but I have to explain why or what I was like. And the kid took a cheap shot last game. I went out for a pass, ball was way over. He cheap shot at me, just cleaned my clock. Ball wasn't anywhere close, so I got his number, and in the handshake line, I took care of him. In the handshake line, I was an eye for an eye back then, Billy. I took his face mask right there, and I just hit. And I caused the brawl. I caused the whole brawl.
Yeah, I remember. We were in the line.
Larry made me run forever for that one, man.
We were all part of it. But and if you remember that now, we laugh about it now, and it was funny. Even then, it was funny. But that stuff. And just think about with Coach O'Leary, how long that stuck with you. That stuff don't go away, and, no one, it's funny now to a point, but, we've all been there with different things we've done, and it's stuff where you look back at it, and I've looked back at different things, even an hour or 2 hours later, and I wasn't proud of things I did. And the unfortunate part is, that stuff stays with you a long time.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I can tell you from my personal experience, there's still stuff that stays with me now. I hear from my kids. I hear from, there's social media now. This stuff is all over the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got my daughter saying, "Geez, I just heard from somebody you're stealing people's lunch money in school. You did this. You put a kid in the locker."
Oh, that's because you said it on the show.
And I said, "Geez, I use Coach O'Leary's out. I don't remember anything like
this." Hey, we all learn, man. We all learn. We all are immature, but we all learn discipline. And we all know that discipline is the number one characteristic that you have to set forth from. You said from day one, and you're right.
It's got to be. Without that, we don't have a team.
Right.
Without that, all the things you talked about, team unity, enthusiasm, communication, we don't have any of that because the kid don't give a damn, and nobody discipline. Yeah. Unless you're sold on what's going on because of it.
Right. Discipline is an interesting subject, and it's very diverse. Matter of fact, let's make that our subject next week. Discipline. How do you instill discipline? Where does it come from? What do you say to do it? Why do you need it? We'll talk about in depth next week. Well, that's a good subject. We'll tackle next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So we need all those, and hope you guys got something out of it. We miss Blazer.
Before we close, Paulie, I just want to touch on a couple more things: mental and physical toughness. Okay. Now we can talk about this when we talk about discipline because it's huge as far as conveying this to your players, conveying this and teaching them because it's a big part of the game. And again, without discipline, we don't have mental and physical toughness.
Right. Exactly. That's matter of fact, we'll talk about it next week, probably in discipline, because you need that's what discipline is, making you mentally and physically tough. And so we'll tackle that. And that's part of growing up. It's part of being mature. That's part of understanding consequences. That's part of discipline. We'll tackle all that next week because when you're mentally and physically and morally and spiritually tough. I also let's tackle those next week too, because if you're morally bankrupt, that's not a good place to be. If you're spiritually bankrupt, that's even worse. So you got to talk about mental, physical toughness, how to be a good person and be able to stand up to like bullying and stuff. That's moral toughness right there.
Paulie, before you close, I just want to shout out to Blaze and say thanks for letting me have some time to speak here. I didn't have. I got more than 2.5 minutes.
Oh man, he's got to watch that one. Come on, Ugg. Don't Billy got to talk, Ugg, today. Oh my God. All right. Well, we had nicknames, so we should have said Ugg before, but we miss Blazer.
We do.
He's having a good time with his son out Sturgis. All right, Billy. I got stuff to do. People to see and things to do. Thanks for joining in 4-Wheel Drive, Billy.
Absolutely. Good to see you, babe.
You too, brother. I love you. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, that's it. Oh, man. That was Billy Pondock, 4-Wheel Drive, talking about coaching points, coaching characteristics. Make sure you share this video to any coach that you know. Thanks for watching. Have a great sports night, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Oh, I want to give you shout out Bobby Humphrey, Todd Richardson coming on the show. I should tell Billy. Oh, he's off. Our teammates, Todd Richardson, teammate at Liverpool and Bama. Bobby Humphrey, of course, the 2-time All-American running back at Bama. That show is Saturday at 10 o'clock, so stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for these messages from our great sponsors. Have a great one, everybody. See ya.
There's a reason why Hill Kelly in Pensacola is the #1 selling Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram dealer between Jacksonville and New Orleans. While other dealers have taken advantage of a competitive market with higher prices, Hill Kelly has discounted prices to the lowest of the year. And Hill Kelly in Pensacola won't surprise you with excessive charges beyond the selling price. Come see why people from Milton, Pace, Foley, Bay Minette, Daphne, Gulf Shores, Mobile, and beyond are driving to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to buy their next new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram. At Hill Kelly, the bottom line price and your satisfaction are what really matter. So before you sign, check the bottom line and make the trip to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to see what true local ownership can do for you. At Hill Kelly Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Highway 29 in Car City, Pensacola. Or shop online 24/7 at hillkellydodge.com. When it comes to bottom line pricing, nobody beats a Hill Kelly deal. Nobody.
75 years of service and high tech today. It's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348. High tech is a term often applied to advanced services and products in today's marketplace. And today, glass is much more than the simple painted brittle, see-through stuff we hit baseballs through when we were kids. Glass is now a product with unique flexibility in both performance and application. And Pensacola Glass Company is growing right along. That's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348.
Are you riding around in a filthy vehicle? Dirty car no more. Visit Ronnie's Car Wash today to get it shining in no time. They have 3 convenient locations with another coming soon. The unlimited monthly wash packages start as low as $14.95 per month with free vacuums, multi-purpose spray and towels. Visit them in Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, and soon Crestview. Don't wait, wash today. Be sure to see Ronnie's Car Wash on Facebook to see the latest specials and discounts. You'll be riding and shining in no time.
That's you trying to fix the plumbing yourself to save a few bucks. Doing things yourself doesn't always end well. The same goes for insurance. That's why Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and offer discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance. Because sometimes you need a professional to get the job done right. That's simple human sense.
Bill, some game, huh?
I haven't really noticed, Paul.
What? The biggest game of the year?
I've been looking over my insurance. Talk about problems I'm trying to figure out.
Well, do what I did. Call the Seiler Agency. They showed me what I needed and what I didn't. They even saved me money. Now, instead of worrying about my insurance, I can worry about the big game.
Contact the Seiler Agency at 476-7443 for all of your insurance needs. Your independent agent for home, auto, boat, RV, commercial, general liability, life, and sound investment strategies. Call 476-7443 today.
That's you trying to fix the plumbing yourself to save a few bucks. Doing things yourself doesn't always end well. The same goes for insurance. That's why Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and offer discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance. Because sometimes you need a professional to get the job done right. That's simple human sense.